Hey kids, do you like science?
What's that?
Well, I think it's full of theories and beakers and experiments and, I'm not actually sure what science is. But I do know that it's housed at the Pacific Science Center in Seattle, Washington. Long before this picturesque setting became a DUP base and infamous second son, I was invited to cover a touring exhibit called Game On. It's an exhibition that started in London in 2002 and has been snaking its way around the world ever since. In fact, it's currently at the Montreal Science Center through September 13. My 2006 trip was documented in one of Defunct Games' earliest videos. I found it while going through some of my old boxes and wanted to upload it to YouTube. Unfortunately, the audio and presentation really isn't ready for prime time. So what I've done is re-recorded the audio and salvaged the rough editing. Sadly, the footage isn't in great condition, but I'm hoping that the tour of Game On will make up for it. Sound like a plan?
Didn't you say it was glands that made guys different?
Oh, God, go ask your coach. First things first, it's important to say hello to Laura. To the right of her are a couple of 1970s arcade machines, including Pong and Computer Space. This is really the birthplace of consumer video games. Here we see other early machinery, which helped pave the way to where we are today. Let's go ahead and follow this guy into the main arcade room. You'll recognize a lot of the names, including Pac-Man, Centipede, Dig Dug, Space Invaders, and many more. These were all set to free play, so you saw a lot of people hitting up Donkey Kong and Galaga cabinets over and over. And when they weren't playing, they were just hanging out and talking about the good old days. It was a good time. Here's a guy playing Star Wars. He's really into it. Here's his mom. She doesn't seem nearly as into it. Here we have a young boy playing the Jaguar. He's a teenager now. I doubt he remembers any of this. But one day he's gonna stumble on this video and be shocked that he's YouTube famous. Over there is the PlayStation 2, and right next to it is the Apple IIe, for some reason. Next up is the Sega Saturn. Under the display is inaccurate information about the Saturn. It's hard to tell with this standard definition video, but the Saturn is labeled as the Dreamcast. This guy has no interest in being filmed. Here we have the cinema section, which probably doesn't need to exist. We have the Jaws arcade game, a guy playing GoldenEye, a kid playing some random Harry Potter game, and of course the Resident Evil poster. Next up, we have the simulation room, with games like SimCity, Pilot Wings, and ice hockey. It's missing something without the hard drive-in arcade machine. Over here is the main room, where there are a bunch of consoles, all set up with different games to play. You'll see a lot of recognizable faces in this section, including the King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter, and Street Fighter II playing on the Super NES. Over here are a full row of noteworthy games, including shooters and adventure games, and just about everything else. I see Zelda and R-Type in the mix. Here we have some artwork. Hey, look, it's a whole family attempting to use the iToy. It's worth remembering that this footage was filmed long before the Microsoft Kinect. Hell, the Wii wasn't even out yet. Up next, we have the sound area, which includes a lot of music-related games. You can see the guy playing Rez. Next up is the kids section, a room filled with stuff for kids. Now, this is where Game On begins to lose me. As you can see, this table of handheld games is in the kids section. I'm not sure I agree with that classification. Sure, you can argue that the Game Boy Color had a lot of kids games, but not the PSP, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Lynx. At least they have the Wonder Swan and Turbo Express. Here's a guy playing Steel Battalion all by himself. I'm not sure he appreciates me shoving this camera in his face. On the other hand, these guys playing this anime game don't seem to care. Let's keep moving past this big group of people playing games. Each display has a different style of game, so it's really just a big mess of old school products. Not all of them worth remembering, if you ask me. This is the homemade section. which talks about creating your own games, and oh, yeah, there's the air conditioning. That feels really good, even 9 years later. Okay, that can't be comfortable. Up here is the art walk. With a better camera, you'd be able to make out the various designs on the wall. A lot of this is related to Tomb Raider and Grand Theft Auto. You might be able to recognize some of the art from Dragon's Lair. This is a bunch of the notes and outlines for Grand Theft Auto 3. It's impossible to read thanks to this shaky cam. This map is part of Liberty City. You can see all the X's and notes. What do we have here? Oh, this is the educational portion of the tour. No wonder everybody is downstairs. Since we're up here, let's see what this section has to offer. You'll see a bunch of games created by American students, some of which were available for purchase back in 2006. The games, not the students. Here's the Nintendo DS playing a game made in Japan. Oh, there's Patrick. He's been a jokester this whole time. Thankfully, I don't have any footage of him singing Cherub Rock by the Smashing Pumpkins. No, wait, I do. Back on the tour, here we see a woman playing a student-made game. While we lurk around the exhibit's boring room, let me rewind a little and tell you about what led me to Game On. Believe it or not, I was invited to take the tour by Barry, who worked at the exhibition. Knowing that the site was in the Pacific Northwest, he invited us to take the tour and snag an interview. This is the official video game timeline, according to Game On. It starts in 1947, and says all the dates are based on the US releases. So let's move down here to the 1990s and see what it says. Okay, here we are, 1994. Apparently that's the year the Saturn came out, which is wrong. Both the PlayStation and Saturn hit the US in 1995. Not always the most accurate information, I guess. Hey, what's in that door? What are they doing? We're back downstairs. Okay, I've got 2 questions for you. Question 1. How long will it take for this kid to lose interest in this train simulator? And he's bored. Question 2. Do you think these kids mind that there's kid vomit directly next to them? I told them, and they didn't seem to mind. Here we have more people playing Tempest 2000 on the Jaguar. I'm telling you, the Jaguar was a big hit at Game On. Upstairs, you'll see a row of iconic video game magazine covers. Most of the covers were from Edge. At least this gives us a good overview of what Game On has to offer. There are a lot of rooms full of rows of consoles, each playing a familiar game. I wish there was more variety on each system, but at least it gave gamers a taste. Oh, look, it's Patrick again. Uh-oh, I'm way behind. We gotta hurry this up. Oh man, it looks like I'm not even gonna get to that story about the grouchy woman yelling at Patrick. Anyway, I saw a lot of very young children having the time of their life playing games from the 80s and 90s. These kids got it, and I could see it inspiring them to seek out older games. Or maybe they were just excited to be playing games and not doing all that science crap. There are a lot of great games on the Atari 2600. I'm not sure why they chose to display E.T. Here's another guy playing the Jaguar. Oh, wait, He has a buddy. Look, I'm serious. That's the power of Tempest 2000. As you can imagine, sometimes the display had technical problems. Here we see Barry attending to a broken Dreamcast. You'll notice that it's Patrick sitting there. He broke it. I'm pretty sure this happened after the grouchy woman yelled at him. Eventually, Barry just unplugged the whole thing. There was one less game to play on that day. Barry showed us a row of what he called the most influential systems of all time. This included the PlayStation, Game Boy, PC Engine, a whole bunch of early generation home computers, and the Nintendo Famicom using a different... Hey! Get out of my way! How rude. Speaking of which, here's how Patrick ended his day at Game On.
I would have to ask you to leave because it's 5:50 and it's time for us to go.
Me?
Yes.
Don't have to?
Yes, you do have to. Yes. Yes, it's 5:50. I gave you 15 minutes warning, so if you could get your stuff and head towards the exits, that'd be great.
It's my lap. I'm almost there.
I know.
That's a really bad excuse, Pat.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to put down the remote control anyway. Thank you. You'll just have to come back another day and finish up then.
Laura, you did the right thing. See you soon, Pacific Science Center. Hey, thanks for watching me revisit my trip to Game On. Sorry again for the crummy video quality, but it couldn't be helped. If you're looking for something that won't make your eyes hurt, then might I recommend one of our recent videos. We recently played through the first 20 minutes of Poncho, and I made a convincing argument that Rolling Thunder should be rebooted. And don't forget about Online Pass, the weekly video game news quiz. All kinds of stuff to watch and interact with every single week. So do me a favor and click the subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,